What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today it is Monday, which is our championship review. As always, we've got a load of talking points to go. We've got some crazy sending offs, we've got some wonder strikes as well, some last minute goals. We've got everything to cover in this video today. A classic championship weekend. If you got a correct score, your comment will be on the screen right now. A lot of you did get a correct score, a lot of you had a great weekend. I managed to get 2 correct scores, so I actually did quite well. I did the Huddersfield and Preston game, and I also got the Bournemouth and Watford game right as well. Although I was so close with so many games being 1 goal off. But this is what the Lexus Hall of Fame or the Predictions League now looks like. I'm still on top, but Joshua Food even had a better weekend, getting 3 correct scores. So it's a very even battle between us two at the moment. Before I begin, I want to say thank you guys so much for pushing me all the way to 300 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for this. It's the quickest that I've managed to achieve 100 subscribers as a sustained period of time. So thank you guys so much for that. Could you potentially push me to 400 or maybe even 500 before Christmas? I mean, we're on 302 right now, 198 before December the 25th or the new year to get 500. I think it's possible. If you guys can really share this channel, like the video and subscribe if you haven't done, it would really make my day. But without any further ado, let's crack on with these championship games. So the East Midlands derby really did not disappoint at all. It's a very close game. It ended as a 1-1 draw, which I think was a bit injustice, especially for Derby County. Derby were actually playing pretty positive stuff actually. Once the system works, it really works. It's about sustainability, which has been a real problem for Derby at the moment. The breakthrough went down when Josh Knight charged forward. Sammy Amiobi fouled him needlessly, conceding a free kick just outside the D. Martin Waghorn's had a return to Derby County. He steps up, hits the ball underside of the crossbar and in. Absolutely unstoppable. A terrific free kick on his part. Forest, despite not looking too threatening, they always had that kind of inevitability that they were still within the game. And eventually they did manage to score, albeit from controversial circumstances. The corner came in and then there was Lyle Taylor who managed to get the shot to make it 1-1. Although Josriak near the end of the game looked like he had a perfectly fine goal. Derby were going to get their second away win of the season. But it is disallowed from Martin Waghorn running in the way of Reece Sambo with him taking the shot. For me, very controversial and actually almost a little bit similar to Nottingham Forest's goal as well. So the fact that they managed to chalk that off from obstructing the keeper's view, could they have not chalked off Nottingham Forest's one? All of it was all very controversial, which is what you really love to see in an East Midlands derby. Then the battle of the recently relegated sides ended 1-1, which I did correctly predict, although it looked like that Watford were going to hold on. They took the lead, a brilliantly taken goal. Joe Garner finding Ismail Yassar on the right, terrific cross from him, and Strike Parika managing to get his first goal for the club made it 1-0 to Watford. But Bournemouth by far were the better footballing side. They definitely had more chances. Although Watford always looks a threat going forward. Begovic had to make quite a few big saves. João Pedro almost had a chance when Begovic awkwardly parried a shot from Keena. But Bournemouth were the side having the chance with Solanke, had a shot well saved by Foster. And eventually their persistence paid off. And I think having the likes of Josh King and having all these influences on the pitch really did help. A corner was whipped in. Lloyd Kelly, who I think probably should have been sent off. I mean, it was a very high challenge on Ismail Yassar. He shoots the ball and then Chris Metham taps it into net and that made it 1-1 in the 95th minute. Watford would be devastated they couldn't keep their lead. Both of them are within touching distance of the top 2, although both are slipping away from Reading quite a little bit. So definitely both of them definitely need to make sure that they keep their eye on Reading, because if they want to battle for the top 2, they definitely cannot allow themselves to be slipping away from one of their teams. And then our third consecutive 1-1 draw in the moment. I mean, that was a result you needed to predict to get a shout out. And that was Bristol City and Swansea. Overall, I think it was a little bit deserved for me. I don't think either individual team did enough for them to actually win the game. In terms of chances, maybe Bristol City had more of the chances, especially in the first half. Taylor Moore had a great header from a crisp run free kick, which was well saved by Woodman there. It was Swansea that actually managed to take the lead. A really intelligent pass by Connor Roberts to find Jamal Lowe with so much time and space. Defenders couldn't track him down. Smashed it past Benny, that made it 1-0 to the Swans. Although perhaps controversially, Bristol City got their equaliser, winning a penalty. Now, I've seen a couple of replays of this, and unfortunately, the camera angle's not that great, so I can't really get a good view on it. Connor Roberts definitely made it clear that he slipped over himself, which is why Semenyo went down with him. although in other angles it looks like he may have just dragged him down, which definitely would have been a stonewall pen. I don't know, it looked like to me that Roberts just fell by accident, so pretty controversial pen in my opinion, but Naki was stepped up and that made it 1-1, and I think with the pad on the plate, that was the fair result. Bristol City are still second, definitely cannot afford to slip up anymore. They're 5 points behind Reading, so they definitely need to try and close that as soon as they can if they want to be title contenders. In terms of Swansea, still in the top 6, but they cannot afford to be dropping points anymore. That's once again another example of them winning, but then dropping points from winning positions. They need to make sure they cut that out. And the fourth, you've guessed it, 1-1 draw in a row, and that was Cardiff and Middlesbrough. And for me, I think it was definitely harsh on Cardiff. Middlesbrough, to be fair, did well to actually get a point out of it. They only had 1 shot on target and it was 1 goal. And it was George Saville once again scoring his 2nd goal in his 2nd successive game. It was a corner, he won a header, and that managed to make it 1-0 to Middlesbrough. Although Cardiff had so many opportunities actually, and they almost had to play very differently. They almost had to agree that they had to be the dominant side being at home. Harry Wilson tried to get himself involved in the game. He tried a load of long punt efforts, but unfortunately, most of them didn't even really hit the target. Cardiff did get their reward and equalised in the second half. It was from a corner. Kiefer Moore won the header. Glatzel managed to kick it, and then Ojo managed to tap it in, which made it 1-1. Neil Warnock wasn't happy, thinking that there was a foul on Saville. I mean, I think that he's naturally going to complain at that for me. Both are doing quite well in the Championship at the moment. If they can just hold a successive run of games together, then maybe they can have a great season. Middlesbrough right now have been undefeated since the opening day fixture against Watford, so Middlesbrough definitely been a dark horse in this season. Cardiff right now definitely have got some performances within them. It's about sustaining them. If they can sustain them, I think Cardiff can have a great season. And very sore Blackburn once again dismantled a team, and this time it was Coventry by 4-0. And we've seen this already with Wycombe. If you go down to 10 men, you're going to be punished, especially when you play against a very high attacking side like Blackburn. The unfortunate victim was Michael Rose. Poor defending on his part allowed Ben Brereton to be 1-on-1. He pushed him down in the box, which not only won a penalty for Blackburn very early on, but he got a straight red card. No arguments made about that. It was definitely denying a goal scoring opportunity. Adam Armstrong stepped up. He sent Marosi the wrong way, and that made it 1-0. Coventry, to be fair to them, did well to keep the scoreline down in the first half, but in the second half, that is when the floodgates started opening and Blackburn could literally ridicule teams. Adam Armstrong got his 2nd goal. Brilliant play, by the way, from Brereton to pick out a fantastic weighted pass to him. He shot with so much power. It came off Marosi and on top of the crossbar. There was no way that any goalkeeper was sending that unless you had limbs of steel. That made it 2-0 to Blackburn. Harvey Elliott scored his 1st goal for Blackburn. Brilliant play once again between Armstrong, then to Brereton, who squared it to Harvey Elliott. He managed to hit in the bottom left corner. That made it 3-0. And Harvey Elliott was involved with the 4th goal. He charged forward, gave it to Sam Gallagher, who did have a fantastic chance in the first half. I can't believe he missed. But he took his chance second half, shot well, and that made it 4-0 to Blackburn. Blackburn right now are 10th place. Definitely, I think they can have a good season, but if they can just make sure they don't lose as many games and they can keep attacking and they can keep clean sheets like they did against Coventry there, although albeit Coventry just couldn't threaten at all following that they had a man down. If they can keep those clean sheets and still attack, then Blackburn could definitely be a very dangerous side. Coventry right now, this is going to be like a one-off for them. I mean, because they had no chance. They did actually have the first opportunity before they got sent down to 10 men. But once again, concentration, not finding your man, those sort of basic defensive mistakes is what's going to cost Coventry if they do not get that improved. And a disciplinary problem as well. I mean, we've already seen Gustavo Hamer being sent off for Coventry, so that may be something that Coventry will need to deal with. And then another game with a red card in it was Huddersfield and Preston, where it was Preston continuing their great away record with a 2-1 away victory. All of their points so far, Preston, have been from away at home. So they could definitely play away from home. If they could just play at home, Preston could be an unbeatable side. Huddersfield, however, did take the lead, and it was a fantastic defence splitting pass from Lewis O'Brien to find Fraser Campbell. Campbell did well to get enough of a shot plus run. That made it 1-0 to Huddersfield. Although Preston definitely took over when they went behind, had so many chances, and a special shout out goes to Emil Reece-Jacobson. What an unbelievable performance he did. He did absolutely everything but score a goal, and he was denied so many opportunities to score as well. It was the Alan Brown show in the end. Alan Brown took a loose ball, which Huddersfield failed to clear, and just whipped it right in the top right corner. A very stunning goal. But Ben Hamer would definitely want to not look at Preston's second goal. He runs for the ball, even when Naby Sarr's got it covered. He doesn't get enough of a punch on it, and then Alan Brown just simply dinks it over Hamer into the net. Very poor decision making on Ben Hamer's part, and we've seen him do this before. This game had more controversy. Naby Sarr got sent off for bringing down Emils Reece-Jacobson, being on a one-on-one situation. Both teams hit the post after the sending off as well. It was pretty end-to-end game. Huddersfield had lost their 4-game unbeaten run, but I think they can pick up from it. I don't think it was a drastically bad performance, but I think it was just from individual mistakes, and they can cut that out. And then to our 5th 1-1 draw, which was Millwall and Barnsley. And more news about Barnsley. They've appointed their new manager, Banarian Ismaili. I think that's how you say that name. I have heard the name before, not heard a lot about him. If I'm right in saying he managed Pask and he also managed Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. Did pretty well in some of these spells, actually. I've heard quite a few good things about this guy, so hopefully he could be the man who can really take Barnsley out of his poor predicament. Although Barnsley did take the lead, and oh my gosh, Alex Moat's goal. I mean, it was very boring the first half until that goal, which sparked the game to life. He chested it and then did a half volley in the top right corner. Bartosz Białkowski couldn't get anywhere near it. The power and the precision and just the dip as well. Just unbelievable goal. That made it 1-0 to Barnsley. Although Barnsley, for the second successive game now, despite taking the lead, have thrown a lead away before half-time. And that is what Millwall have done from a corner. Jake Cooper rising above everyone, getting a powerful header into the net, and that made it 1-1. And in the second half, Millwall were rampant. They definitely wanted something from this game. Gary Rowett wasn't in the stadium due to him getting a COVID-19 test, so the assistant Adam Baskett had to be in charge of his game, and he'll be proud of Millwall's performance. Maybe not being proud that they didn't manage to get all 3 points at home, but in their second half performance, they did absolutely everything, but they just couldn't get past Walton. He made 4-5 big saves in the second half. Millwall had a good start. They could definitely continue their form. Barnsley right now, very frustrated. As soon as they get their first win, I think Barnsley can kickstart their season. And then the 7th set defeat for Wycombe falls in the hands of Norwich, and they shouldn't have let it happen because Wycombe did absolutely everything. Playing against a recently relegated Premier League side and putting up that much of a fight, they should be so proud of themselves. They won't be proud of their first goal they conceded though. Very poor defending. Literally, you could fit a jumbo jet in the gaps between the two centre halves, and Pukki just simply ran through them and shot past Allsop, and that made it 1-0 to Norwich. Although their response was terrific. Once again, very poor defence mistake. This time on Norwich's part, Grant Harnley doesn't anticipate the ball and he doesn't pick out Scott Kashke, who's been the only goal scorer for Wycombe Wanderers in the Championship so far. He's been getting the goals. That made it 1-1. And to be honest, Wycombe did have some chances. Onyedinma looked really, really dangerous. He was the catalyst in terms of getting all those chances in. Norwich did have a couple of chances as well, but Allsop was very, very good at keeping them out. Cantwell had a chance. Pukki had more chances. Quintilla on the right-hand side was very, very threatening. So it was definitely back and forth. Either team could have won it. And in the end, it was Norwich. From a free kick, Mario Vrancic just inside the D, top right corner, and that made it 2-1. Devastating for them. And what would be really bad on Norwich's part is that they've lost Adam Idah. Very avoidable. Jacobson does a very bizarre tackle, but then the follow-up from Idah to kick him in the face was not called for at all, and he definitely deserved his red card, unfortunately. When will Wycombe get their first point? They cannot end the season on 0 points. Performances are improving. Let's make that clear. It's not like they've been constantly bad, but their defence is what's really letting them down, and they can't take their chances. If they can, Wycombe can easily win a couple of games with the teams that they've got playing coming up. As for Norwich, not a convincing performance, but they found a way to win despite not playing well, and they did that. And to a game I'm barely going to scratch the surface on. Queensborough Rangers 0, Birmingham 0. Very, very dull game overall, really, and very disappointing in my opinion. Queensborough Rangers, for me, had the closest opportunity where they did have an opportunity from Brighton side who cleared off the line. But apart from that, there wasn't really much goalmouth action. Etheridge made only one notable save afterwards, really. And then in terms of Birmingham's chances, they really couldn't really hit the target. Both sides had their drilled defences. I think from an attacking point of view, I think Queensborough Rangers looked the better side, especially from Brighton side, Samuel spreading the play. But unfortunately, they just really struggled to break each other through. Both of these sides have now stretched on a 6-game winless run. Both teams need to start winning as soon as they can. They're both in the lower half of the table. If they do not start winning, they could definitely be dragged into a relegation dogfight, which both of these sides would definitely not want, especially with the talent that both of their squads have as well. And then Reading just cannot stop winning. We've got Wycombe who can't stop losing, but Reading who can't stop winning. And to be honest, performance-wise, Rotherham were much better. They had better chances, Cabral made more saves, and we said the same thing when they played against Wycombe as well. But despite not playing well, Reading just always find a way to win. And this time they won comfortably. I mean, their first goal, it looked to be at first that Yaku Mate was offside, but I actually think Wes Harding played him onside. Mate managed to shoot it. Blackburn would be disappointed, shot it past his legs. That made it 1-0 to Reading. And Rotherham, despite probing forward and testing Cabral, especially from the likes of Ladapo going forward, Reading got the second goal. And it was Yaku Mate, who, I tell you what, the goals this weekend were just exquisite. And Yaku Mate decides to do a bicycle kick in the penalty box, in the top right corner. I mean, picking goal of the weekend is going to be an absolute nightmare this weekend, but that made it 2-0 to Reading, and that was what I predicted. But in stoppage time, they had to concede a penalty to Lucas João, and he scored it, and that made it 3-0. I was devastated because I thought I got 3 correct scores, but that João penalty managed to stop me getting it right. I think Rotherham can definitely be a good side in the Championship. They've got persistence, but the thing is, for the fact they still played well and still conceded 3 goals, that may be a cause of concern. For Reading right now, Veljko Panovic is just in dreamland. 5 points ahead of second place right now. Absolutely incredible. I would have never anticipated this start for Reading. If they get promoted as champions, I swear, that is why the Championship's so good. To our second to last game, we've got Sheffield Wednesday and Luton, and it was Luton who picked up the away victory. Sheffield Wednesday missing a big chance to really make a huge step to try and get rid of their points deduction. But right from the first whistle, Luton had so much intent. Elliot Lee, about 3 passes after kickoff, had a chance to score, but then Aidan Flint cleared it off the line, and Luton continued going forward. There was a brilliant bit of intricate play that got Mpanzu one-on-one. He just needed to hit the target and he would score, but he hit it wide. That chance, funnily enough, was easier than the goal he actually scored, which was in the second half. Brilliant build-up. He was in the box, took the shot very, very well in the bottom right corner, and that made it 1-0 Luton. Sheffield Wednesday, unfortunately, just never really looked like scoring, really, and it made matters worse when they were down to 10 men. A very, very late challenge from Jude Van Anken, trying to win the ball. He was just overcommitted, and that is what got him the red card. And actually, funnily enough, the goal that Luton did score was 3 minutes later after that sending off, so definitely it didn't help Sheffield Wednesday in the end of it. Give it within 4 or 5 games, I would hope by then they get rid of their points deduction. If not, then definitely sides like Wycombe will start winning, then sides like Barnsley will start winning more. They need to get rid of their points deduction as soon as they can, because honestly, they can still overtake Wycombe within 2 games if they can just win both of them. Not in a terrible position, but they definitely are not going to be in an easy position in the long run. And then the final game to go over, maybe we save the best to last. Stoke 3, Brentford 2. I have never would have thought that Stoke would score 3 goals. But yet, they were 3-0 up against Brentford. I mean, Brentford just had an off day, really. They were really, really poor defensively. Stephen Fletcher scored the first goal. Brilliant play, I have to say, by James McLean, charging through, giving it to Tyrese Campbell. He has been so good as well, Tyrese Campbell. Both him and James McLean. He loops the ball. Stephen Fletcher wins the header, poor defensively from Brentford. That made it 1-0 to Stoke. And Stoke managed to double their lead, this time through James McLean. He got a very, very well-deserved goal, very well taken from him. And then Tyrese Campbell managed to make it 3 within the second half. James McLean being heavily involved once again, giving it to Campbell. And he shoots very, very confidently, a little bit far out as well, past David Raya, and that made it 3-0. Could David Raya have done any better with any of them? I mean, maybe James McLean's one for the second one, for the fact he got beaten at his near post. But Brentford, despite being 3-0 down, did stage a little bit of a late comeback. Their first goal was really, really good. Josh Da Silva gave it to Ivan Toney, and his pass to Marcus Forss was absolutely brilliant. Tore the defence apart. He was one-on-one. He couldn't miss. That made it 3-1. And then it was a very, very poor mistake. I think it was Josh Tymon, who was brought on as a substitute, did an awful back pass trying to reach Adam Davies. Marcus Forss collected it, managed to score his stoppage time, making it 3-2. Brentford could have staged a late comeback, but unfortunately it was too little too late, and Stoke held on for the 3-2 victory. I have to say, Stoke are having such a good start right now, and not many people are talking about Stoke right now, but James McLean, Tyrese Campbell, I tell you what, both have such a good understanding with each other. A little bit similar, I would have to say, with Ben Brereton and Adam Armstrong. When you've got 2 attackers that have got a great understanding, you're going to guarantee goals, and they have exactly that. It's a poor defeat on Brentford's part, and already they've just shown that they've been having good performances, but they seem to be a little bit inconsistent. They can't string a run at the moment, and that's going to ultimately cost Brentford if they cannot fix that. But that wraps it up. Here is the championship table after match day 7. Reading, 19 points, 6 wins, 1 draw, 6 clean sheets, only 1 goal conceded in 7 games. Unbelievable stuff from Reading. Bristol City are second on goal difference. Watford very close behind them. Bournemouth on 13 points. And in the rest of the top 6, we've got Norwich and Swansea now. So we've got all 3 of the recently relegated teams within the top 6 now, which is quite intriguing. And then for the rest of the top half, you've got Millwall, Stoke, Luton, who've now climbed up to 9th, Blackburn, Brentford and Preston now entering the top half of the table. And then for the rest of the pack, you've got Middlesbrough, Huddersfield, Cardiff close behind them. And then the struggling teams, we've got Queensborough Rangers, Birmingham and Rotherham. And then we've got Nottingham Forest, Coventry, Barnsley with the bottom 3 of Derby, Wycombe and Sheffield Wednesday still on -4 points. Before we go to the score predictions from the midweek games this week, I'm going to go through my championship awards this week. So we'll start off with the result of the weekend this time. Quite a few contenders, but I'm actually going to give it to Stoke 3, Brentford 2. The fact they were in a position they were 3 goals up against Brentford, a brilliant home performance as well. It's guaranteed to me that Stoke are going to be a team to watch out for. So my result of the weekend, Stoke 3, Brentford 2. Now, goal of the weekend, I am really struggling with this. 3 contenders for this: Martin Waghorns, Yaku Mates and Alex Morris. Honestly, you guys decide really. I'm going to feel bad leaving out whoever. Okay, you know what? I'm going to compromise this. I'm going to give my goal of the weekend to Alex Moat because I just love the dip and the effortlessness of the volley and the dip as well. But I'm going to give my player of the weekend to Yaku Mate because he did score 2 goals. He was absolutely terrific for Reading and made things happen. So, goal of the weekend, Alex Moat. Player of the weekend, Yaku Mate. So now, for the last bit of the video, we've got to go through the midweek fixtures for the championship. Also, make sure you check out later today FIFA 21 predicting the championship midweek games as well. It'll be on a live stream. Make sure you always keep your eye on Lexas and notifications on to see that. So we'll start off with Barnsley and Queen's Park Rangers. Surely Barnsley have got to win now. Surely. This could be another nil-winner, but I don't see the case being with Barnsley. I'm going to say 2-1 Barnsley. Surely this is the time. Wycombe Watford. Blimey. I'm going to say 1-0 away to Watford. Middlesbrough and Coventry. I'm going to say 2-0 Middlesbrough. I think they could be quite comfortable. Brentford and Norwich. Blimey, that's going to be a very close game. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. I think this will be close. Blackburn Reading. Oh my gosh. Right, that's the game I'm really excited to see. Oh, can Reading contain Blackburn? You know what? I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. I think Reading will drop points, but I think they will find a way not to lose. Swansea Stoke. 2-1 Stoke for me. I think they'll get a win there. Preston and Millwall. I'm going to say 1-0 Millwall. I think they'll get an away win following Preston's poor home form. Luton and Nottingham Forest. I'm going to say a 2-1 away victory to Nottingham Forest. I think they can go on a run now. Bournemouth and Bristol City. I think Bournemouth have a bit too much firepower for Bristol City. I'm going to say 2-1 Bournemouth actually. Birmingham and Huddersfield. I'm going to say a 0-0 draw there. Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday. Yorkshire Derby, so I'm excited for that. I'm going to say 2-1 Sheffield Wednesday. Derby and Cardiff, I'm going to say 2-0 Cardiff. Cardiff have looked good away from home, and I think Derby are just going to be inconsistent. So that wraps up my score predictions and today's video. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. If you hear background noise, I have to do apologise about that. If you're new around the channel, welcome to the channel. My name is Alex. I do championship and football content as often as I can. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. It would really make my day. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legend if you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care.